Well, been saying this for quite a while, and today it's the last time. It's Cronkite Sports live time. 2.5 years here, Ethan, and this is my last show, but I'm glad I get to do it with you. We got a lot planned for today.
We do. It's been an absolute ride with you, but let's get right into it so we can celebrate you towards the end. ASU basketball, I tell you to get some popcorn out, but you probably should put on some seatbelts because this one got a little bumpy. Washington State, I should say, started off quickly, and ASU really didn't have any answers on the defensive end. That was a three from Michael Flowers, and Deshaun Jackson's flushes it home. And then on the offensive end, ASU were missing shots left and right. It didn't matter if it was pull-up jumpers, if it was free throws. They just simply were not falling for the Sun Devils. This was probably the best part of the game. Luther Muhammad with a fadeaway jumper, I should say, hits it. That stopped a over 7-minute run of no buckets, and this is probably the reason why. Marion Jackson misses an absolute wide open layup, an open three from Alonzo Gaffney. That's an air ball, and they just absolutely had nothing going. This time, Noah Williams is able to dish it off to Mohamed Gay. Pump fake, slams it home with authority. Watch your head. Mohamed Gay gets that one down, and then once again, this shows just the struggles that ASU had. Gay gets the offensive rebound. There were 92 rebounds in this one. So many missed shots that they just kept bringing the ball down for rebounds. And Washington State held ASU to its lowest point total in program history since the 1945-46 season. And Arizona State, unsurprisingly, come away with a 51-29 loss. Here's Bobby Hurley after the game.
Surprising. We had our chances in the first half, as bad as we were. I mean, it was a bad game, and we still, could have had the lead or been tied if we just hit a few like wide open layups or free throws or an open three that we had. Any combination of those things, just the most elementary, basic things that you need to do, on the basketball court.
It was not great. Hurley was rightfully mad at a historically bad performance. And it's easy to just say the Sun Devils haven't been very good this season, but to tell us exactly why the Sun Devils have gotten off to their worst start since the 1969-70 season, we bring in WCSN reporter Noah Furtado to tell us by the numbers.
Thanks, Ethan. In the absence of starting forward Marcus Bagley, Arizona State men's basketball has lost 5 consecutive games, with each contest exposing a laundry list of concerns on the offensive and defensive end. Of their offensive deficiencies, consistent ball movement has been the Sun Devils' biggest weakness. Across the stretch, the team has averaged a modest 12.4 assists per game, with just 11 combined in their past 2 defeats. Aside from their anomalous 22-assist performance and a losing effort versus Syracuse, ASU's offense has stagnated behind its guards' disruptive size-up tendencies and a shortage of high and low post touches. Such lack of flow and balance helps explain the Sun Devils' 36.3% shooting from the field and their 28.2% clip from beyond the arc. On the other end, they've been effective when up against average offensive attacks, but such performances against above-average to elite offenses paints a different story. At the Battle for Atlantis, ASU surrendered 75-plus points in each of their 3 losses to Baylor, Syracuse, and Loyola Chicago. Baylor's ball screens, Syracuse's backcourt size, and Loyola Chicago's chemistry were among the reasons why ASU was overwhelmed in Nassau. By tournament's end, a 48-40 shooting split by the opposition sent head coach Bobby Hurley and company back to Tempe empty-handed. Moving forward, Arizona State will encounter no shortage of tough competition as they take on Oregon, Grand Canyon, Creighton, and San Francisco in the coming weeks. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thank you, Noah, for giving us a general sense of why this team has struggled so far this season. But now we're going to go a little more specific and narrow in on that loss against Washington State. For that, we bring in Sammy Miller. Sammy, thanks for coming in. This was, in Hurley's words, an epically bad performance from this team. So when you look at that, what were the main factors in this just 29-point performance?
I think it all started with their shot selection. The Sun Devils were taking quick and contested shots, and they were settling for some three-pointers instead of driving to the paint and getting those easy buckets. Now, don't get me wrong, the Cougars were pretty good defensively and were walling off the paint for the Sun Devils, but that's no excuse. The Sun Devils needed to execute better. They shot for a mere 21% from the field. That is just unacceptable. Had 15 turnovers with only 12 made field goals. That is just not a recipe for success.
Not a recipe for success, and this was the beginning of Pac-12 play. What does this loss mean to the rest of that Pac-12 play?
Well, for the Sun Devils, the pressure is on. You are supposed to win at home, especially in the Pac-12. Every single night, the pressure is on to win these games. And so for the Sun Devils, heading into Sunday, they have a big game against Oregon. And in my eyes, that is a must win. They are on a 5-game losing streak. That is unacceptable for the Sun Devils. So they need to go in and play team basketball in order to get that win in Eugene.
Yeah, and you talk about them going to Eugene. You talk about a team that struggled so far this season, a 2-6 start. What does the Sun Devils team need to do to turn around their season?
I think they need to play more team basketball. They need better ball movement, better player movement, and overall they're playing as 5 individuals on that court. That is not acceptable. And honestly, that starts with Coach Bobby Hurley. He needs to make sure they implement a certain game plan heading into each and every game. And also, it comes down to their rebounding. You can make an effort to defend on each and every possession. And for the Sun Devils right now, they have the pieces. That's the good news. But now it's all about finding what works and what combinations work, which is going to be interesting to see if they're able to do that in the game against Oregon on Sunday and just the rest of the conference play as well.
As they play that game on Sunday against Oregon, we'll have to wait and see if Bobby Hurley can figure things out with this squad. But now Charlie Turner-Thorne and the women's team have had a little bit of a better start at 3-4, but inconsistencies have been very apparent. Our WCSN reporter Kevin Malater breaks down the right and the wrong of their season so far.
Returning from Cancun following a 1-2 showing, Sun Devil women's basketball finds itself with 2 favorable matchups at home this weekend. And while it's still early in the season, one thing is clear. Inconsistencies with the team's 3-point shooting has hindered success so far this winter at DFA. Arizona State is 3-4, and in their 3 wins, they shot an average of 42% from downtown. But in those other 4 games, well, that's been a completely different story, with ASU averaging an uninspiring 22% from behind the arc. And for head coach Charlie Turner-Thorne, finding success from 3-point land comes down to one simple thing. You gotta make your open looks.
And obviously, I do think that we got good looks and didn't make them today. I mean, some of today was make your shots, right? We took 22 threes, which is probably too many, but most of them, probably 17 of them were wide open.
There might be an upside for ASU in their upcoming matchups, though. On Saturday, when Arizona State will host UTSA, the Sun Devils should expect a below-average 3-point defense from the Roadrunners. UTSA has allowed their opponents to shoot 34.3% from 3 so far this season. That's bad. Bad enough to find themselves 12th out of 14 teams in 3-point defense in Conference USA. As for Sunday's matchup, it'll be a different task for ASU as they host Harvard. For the Crimson, slowing opponents from 3 was a strength early on, allowing opponents to shoot only 32.7% from 3 in their first 5 games. That's similar numbers to the aforementioned Roadrunners. But in the last 2 games, Harvard's perimeter D has not looked the same, with the Crimson allowing their opponents to knock down 57.5% of their shots from behind the arc. Meaning this is a great opportunity for ASU, not only to get back in the win column, but to get their offense firing before Pac-12 play begins with a road trip to LA on December 31st.
We talk about life. We talk about him becoming a leader. And I talked to him about this. Enjoy being a college football player. Just enjoy it.
Daniels takes it to the house. There's a throw to the end zone for Pearson. Beautifully done.
Recognize I'm back.
There you saw it right there. Jaden Daniels, ASU's junior quarterback, 3rd-year starter, set to return for a 4th season in Tempe. He was phenomenal as a true freshman in 2019, a little bit shaky this year as a 3rd-year starter, but certainly much room to improve. Right now, though, let's take a look at what he was able to do along with his teammates in this year's Territorial Cup. And we'll start with a play from Daniels himself. He finds Ricky Pearsall, sophomore wide receiver, who scored twice against the Wildcats. Great play for the score. Here comes the pressure, though. Stanley Lambert, sophomore for ASU, gets the sack on Will Plummer. Back to ASU's offense. It's Daniels once again. This time he finds Rashad White, who has been a highlight reel all year with the hurdle. He crossed the 1,000-yard rushing mark, and this guy had a great rushing game too. Jaden Daniels, 47 yards to the house. He was the Pac-12's leading quarterback rusher with 670 yards, 8th overall in the conference in the category. But right here, it's all about Jack Jones, senior corner, strip sack, fumble. Tyler Johnson doesn't recover it there, jumps on it now. At the 1-yard line, ASU would score a play later, and here it's Jones again with the long pick six. Plummer couldn't get to his receiver. Jones scores all the way to the end zone. He was named Bob Moran Territorial Cup MVP. Sun Devils won it 38-15. They improved to 8-4 on the season. 5th straight Territorial Cup win.
Well, I had no plans on leaving. So I think that was nice of Ray and Dr. Crow, obviously, to both be in there and to show the support of what we're trying to do here. And it's always nice when your players react the way they reacted. You feel like that they appreciate the things that we're trying to accomplish here and the way we do things here. So that was nice of both those men to say that.
Well, you heard it there. Herm Edwards is expected to stay at the helm for Arizona State, and with an 8-4 season over 6 wins, ASU is going to go bowling. So let's take a look at the possible options for ASU. Multiple options here, but the 2 most likely bowls that ASU will be involved in is the Las Vegas Bowl, where they'd be playing up against a Big Ten team, and the Holiday Bowl, where they'll go up against an ACC team. The Las Vegas Bowl in Las Vegas, and the Holiday Bowl is in Petco Park in San Diego. But Arizona State football is a team that had a good season, but we're going to have to wrap it up here, and we're going to send it to Jacob Rudner for this week's edition of The Way It Is.
The expectation for Arizona State's football team before its season was abundantly clear. Make it to the Rose Bowl or the season was a bust, a standard players like senior cornerback Chase Lucas, among others, set for the group. And even among circles that thought that proposition was a tad ambitious, a 9-win regular season and an appearance in the Pac-12 championship were widely considered the threshold for an acceptable campaign. For half the year, that appeared well within reach. The Sun Devils won 5 of their first 6 games, and while they were penalized heavily throughout those contests, they were still winning them, needing just 4 wins in the second half of the year to have a shot at making good on their lofty goals. But the second half of the season can be fairly described as disappointing and even concerning. ASU went 3-3 overall, with losses in games that had even odds or better to win. The team's astounding penalty problems persisted, and its passing game struggled to get off the ground. Yet when asked for his assessment of his team's season, head coach Herm Edwards seemed to shift the goalposts, telling media that it should compare his team's results to those of the rest of the Pac-12's members. But ask anybody who truly paid attention, and they'll tell you that the Pac-12 had one of its worst overall years in recent history. In other words, ASU had an opportunity and undeniably failed to capitalize on it. So where does it go from here? USC, which fired its head coach and will finish its season under 500 for just the 15th time since 1922, just hired Lincoln Riley, one of the most talented young coaches in the country. Utah looks as good as it has in recent years, and UCLA, which lost to ASU this year, still kept pace with the Sun Devils in terms of overall record. It doesn't get easier from here for an ASU team which is also ensnared in an NCAA investigation into its recruiting practices. The window was open for ASU to win the Pac-12 South for the first time since 2013 and perhaps make its first Rose Bowl appearance since 1997. That window appears to have been violently shut now. If not, its opening appears microscopic. Evaluate ASU's 2021 season now. Compare it to the rest of the Pac-12 if you want. Your conclusion is probably the same as mine. The team simply underachieved, and that's the way it is.
Thank you, Jacob. With this season now over, other than the bowl game, we'll have to wait and see what Herm Edwards can do with the team moving forward. But moving to ASU hockey, Greg Powers and the team have gotten off to a 7-7 start. A large part of them being successful is local sensation Josh Doan. He currently has the most points out of any freshman in the country. You might wonder, how has he settled in so quickly to college hockey? WCSN reporters Matt Venetia and Ethan Tuttle hit the ice with him to learn more about his start at ASU. Here's a quick teaser.
All right, Josh, you've had a lot of success so far this year, as we just talked about. When you're coming down the lane on a rush, what's your go-to move?
Yeah, I think personally for me, I like to kind of threaten into the middle and push outside and try to get a shot off from wide. If it doesn't go in, hopefully create a rebound for my wingers coming down the other side.
All right, Josh, well, let's take a look at it here. right, Josh, so there's a lot going on out here during a game. Who seems to be the guy that's always able to find you out here on the ice?
Yeah, I think Colin Tyson's a guy that I go to. We played a lot together this year on the 5-on-5 and on the power play, so we've got a lot of chemistry, and he's the guy I always look to when I'm getting speed to kind of find me, and then vice versa, we kind of feed off each other that way. So I got to go with Colin.
All right.
Well, you guys are on that same power play line. Why don't you show us a little formation, and we'll try and memo it here a little.
Yeah, I think it usually goes from Timmy up top. We'll go Timmy up top, and then Tice is in the middle, and then he just kind of bumps it out wide for a one-timer.
All right, let's do it.
So yeah, it's perfect.
Great content from Matt and Ethan there. Make sure to check out the whole thing on our YouTube and Twitter. ASU hockey take on Denver at home in a 2-game series that starts tonight. 2 years ago, the Pioneers came into the Valley number 4 in the nation, and Johnny Walker netted a hat trick in a 4-1 win for the Sun Devils. A day later, the two teams met in Glendale at Gila River Arena, where Denver tied the game at 2 apiece with less than a minute left. This time around, both games will take place in Oceanside, where Denver has yet to win a game. The Pioneers come in on a 4-game winning streak and ranked number 12 in the nation. ASU will look to lean on its power play, which is 4th in the nation, as it hopes to improve its already strong 6-2 record at home. After last week's win, Powers said it's time to make a run, and the time is now. But right now, we got Not Top Plays for you, a new segment coming to you, starting with Jacob.
Love this. A bunch of fun failures here. Arizona State taking on BYU at BYU. Merlin Robertson with the interception, and you'd think to yourself at this point, and rightfully so, oh, he's going to score. But no, says Tyler Algier as he jumps and punches the ball out of Robertson's hands. ASU lost that game, and it seemed to lose it right there.
ASU versus Stanford's women's volleyball. Make sure you keep an eye on the ball, but it's not going to be hard because one of the players maybe kept too much of her eye on the ball. Right here, Ellis Snyder sets up Asanovic, absolutely rips it off the dome. That one's definitely going to hurt. ASU wins 3-1.
Number 2, ASU figures out a creative way to lose this one. Try a 3/4 court heave for the win. UC Riverside with an absolute miracle shot. Here, we'll give you another look. Marcus Bagley tries to go for a steal. Probably not the right move there. Riverside sinks the bucket. Kamani Lawrence maybe going for the goaltend there. Didn't matter.
Take a look at this one. ASU hockey versus Bemidji State. Check this. Hey, yo! Bing bong. There goes the glass. That's going to be a lot of cleanup.
And now it's time for top plays. These are the good ones. We'll start with number 3, ASU basketball playing in the Bahamas. It's DJ Horn with a beautiful dish to 5-star freshman Enoch Boache. Sun Devils still lost that game. Nice dunk there, though.
Let's go back to ASU versus Bemidji State. This time, Ben Cross is on the good side of things. We're going to have to rewind that and make it slow motion to be able to see what happened. Cross reaches out the stick goes flying, the puck goes flying the other way. Stays out of the net. ASU still ends up losing 4-3 to Bemidji State.
Number 1 play, it is Jack Jones once again. That long pick 6 for Jones in the Territorial Cup. He took this one all the way to the house, and as I said earlier, launches the ball all the way into the stands. Sun Devils won that one 38-15.
Well, that was a special play, and it's been a special time, Jacob, to have you throughout the years at WCSN. I know I myself have learned tons of stuff from you throughout this time as a broadcaster and really just as a journalist in general. So we would like to thank you and say goodbye with some pretty good-looking pictures, I might say.
Well, folks, I appreciate the pictures, but I appreciate one thing more, and that is everybody's time over the last 2.5 years. Thank you for those of you who tuned into the show, but more so, thank you to the people in the studio who make it look so good. So for Ethan Ryter, I'm Jacob Rudner, and for the last time, thank you for watching Cronkite Sports Live. We'll see you next time.